Ah, hello. Welcome. Hello, welcome. We're gonna be reading again. Yippee! I've been excited to read since what is it, Monday? Well, I'm like excited to do these streams every week now because I want to read this fucking book. It is so silly, and I'm so happy about it. But yeah, hello, welcome. How are you? I hope you have some tea or some snacks or just like a puzzle. You know, one of my favorite things is like listening to an audiobook and then doing a puzzle on my iPad, like from a puzzle website thing. It's really like the most relaxing thing I can ever think of. It's so good. Anyway, we are reading The Disabled Tyrant's Beloved Pet Fish once again. Once again. We are in chapter 13, titled The Fish Wants to Fight for Love. Isn't that so excited? I did just wake up like 2 hours ago. Maybe? No, more like 1 hour ago. Well, an hour and a half ago. I woke up at like 9 and it's 10:30 now. That was too hot. But yeah. I ate. I have tea. I'm good to go. Let's read. Are you ready? Yay! Yippee! I need to put my book. Wrong one. Yeah, book. I didn't forget this time. Let's go. Okay. I haven't really warmed up my voice yet, so I might be a little silly, a little stuttery. But we'll try our best. All right, chapter 13. The fish wants to fight for love. Clear, bright pearl. Success! The long-awaited sound of the system's chime was like the heavens singing down on him. Liu was so happy he could float, but since he was right in front of Prince Jing, he had to restrain himself. He couldn't just enter the system and abandon Prince Jing. As soon as the quest was complete, Liu had no further use for the luminous pearl. He was struggling to hold on to it and wanted to put it down, but Prince Jing and Wang Ji were both gathered at the porcelain tank, gazes burning as they stared down at him. He felt like if he dared to abandon the pearl now, the tyrant might stab him to death with his eyeballs. Ew. Okay, I'm just double checking that everything's in order. Mic's on. Everything's good? Yeah, we're good. We're good. Everything's fine. Oh, I feel weird. Hold on, I just need to yawn again. Oy. Okay, we're good. We're fine. Stab with his eyeballs. Prince Jing must have given Liu the pearl because he thought he really liked it, right? Liu couldn't just get rid of the pearl after he made such an effort to apologize. He had to make it seem like he adored it, but his mouth was really sore from holding it. He's just holding it. He thought it over some more, and then he set the pearl down at the bottom of the tank and nudged it shyly with his mouth. The round pearl rolled forward a bit before coming to a stop. Liu continued to use his mouth to prod at it, pushing the pearl quite a long way around the tank. Might as well pretend it's a soccer ball, Liu thought to himself as he played gleefully. He's happy about playing with it. He really is just a fish now. Your Highness. Bruh, okay. Your Highness, look. The little thing loves the pearl you gave it. It's rolling it around. Just moments ago, the little carp had been jumping around happily and even caught the shining pearl from its owner's hand. Wang Ji couldn't be more excited. Except this pearl was being rolled around the tank. What? Except this pearl that was being rolled around the tank could fetch quite the price. Wang Ji couldn't help feeling a little sorry for the noble consort. As the little carp chased and played around with the luminous pearl, the cool, clear light made the silvery gray of the fish gleam. It was rare, and it was a rare and breathtaking sight. Prince Jing smiled lightly. The little fish really did want the pearl. Liu rolled the pearl until he had pushed it into a corner. Pretending he was tired, he lay down on the white rock bed and entered the system. Sure enough, he was immediately met with a reward prompt for finishing the side Sure enough, he was immediately met with the reward prompt for finishing the side quest. Suppressing his excitement, Liu carefully read through the instructions for the transformation medicine. He was just about to confirm and accept when a light bulb went off at his head, and he realized something. The bottle that held the medicine looked rustic and was carved with images he had never seen before. It might not look very big, but where he was a fish, but where was he, a fish, supposed to store it if he accepted it right now? Was he supposed to let it float in the water in his inventory? What a cursed image. After considering his options, Liu asked the system, "Will the medicine disappear if I don't accept it right away?" The system replied, "No. Rewards from completing quests will be held indefinitely." Liu nodded, satisfied. "Very good. Then I'll just leave the prize for now and use it when the time comes." The system said nothing. Liu felt like he had just discovered a whole new world. The inadequate size of his inventory wasn't going to stop him from using such a clever method to store the things he didn't need right now. He was always being tricked by the system. It felt good to outsmart it once in a while. When he first heard about the transformation medicine, he had been ecstatic, but having spent more time thinking on it, he couldn't just use it willy-nilly. Liu didn't exist in the original book, and if he suddenly appeared in his human form, it might create additional chaos that he didn't need or want. Plus, there was also the issue of being able to maintain his human form for only 2 hours. Shut up, my PC. You don't need to be that loud. Okay. Where was I? I lost my place. Let's just have some tea while I figure this out. 2 hours, right? Everything had to be planned out in advance. It was important Oh god. Reading is difficult today. What is going on? It was important he think about the timing and purpose of his transformation. He also had to find a suitable getaway plan on the off chance he turned back into a fish in front of everyone. That would be no good either. He could worry later. The medicine was in his hands now. Liu cheerfully closed the quest. Clear bright pearl. He checked the main quest again and immediately deflated. The time left for getting along was still counting down, reminding him that he had less than a day before the time was up. Oop. If he couldn't complete the main quest, it didn't matter if he had the medicine, he wouldn't ever get a chance to use it. We're already at this point, and the fish scamming system still won't give me a single hint. Don't you have a conscience? The system has no conscience, the system agreed. Please have some patience while completing your quest. He always knew this thing was heartless. Liu exited. Night had fallen, dark and quiet, but the luminous pearl was still emitting its soft, faint glow, lighting up the porcelain tank as if it were daytime. Liu covered the luminous pearl with the leaf blanket to block out its light, and then he yawned and fell asleep, leaning against the pearl. It's like a pillow? Oh my god. Liu awoke to the smell of ink. The row of fish food he had saved to give Prince Jing was close by. Prince Jing hadn't touched his gift. It'd be such a waste if his gift was left sitting so long it went bad. Looking like it was up to Liu to take care of it himself. Jesus Christ. I think my brain's still asleep. It's just not beep-bop booping. After eating, he thought the main quest was now doomed to fail. Was he just supposed to float there and watch the time trickle away? No way. He was going to check on what Prince Jing was doing. then take matters into his own hands and force them to have some sort of interaction. Throwing something against the wall and hoping it stuck was better than not throwing anything at all. Liu could hear Prince Jing moving around in the room, but the porcelain tank was a little too tall. If the prince didn't walk over, it was very difficult to see him. Liu quietly gathered his strength with his tail. In his tail. Christ! Now very familiar with his tail, and practically an expert at jumping out of the tank, he wanted to take it to the next level and try a new, never-before-attempted trick. Oh dear, Liu, I don't know how well this is gonna go for you, but okay. Instead of only stealing a brief glance from before inevitably falling back down to the bottom, Liu would grab onto the side of the tank and lean against it. Holding onto the edge required body-fin coordination. He wasn't sure he'd be able to do it. Goodness gracious. Prince Jing, who was writing at his desk, heard a noise and saw the little carp come leaping out with a swish of his tail. Prince Jing had seen the carp wave its tail a few times, so he wasn't surprised. Although the emperor hadn't believed noble consort Chu when she insisted that the carp was able to fly, Prince Jing didn't doubt it. He knew his fish could fly in its own way, but he wasn't about to speak up for the noble consort. But seeing the fish prepare to jump again, Prince Jing relaxed. It would fall down soon enough. But Prince Jing waited for a while, and the fish didn't fall. Instead, it smacked into the edge of the tank. It flapped its tail, and fins furiously but slowly started to slide down. This is so stupid! And then, splash. Undeterred, the little carp jumped again, without hesitation. Prince Jing watched, bemused. At this point, he had a pretty good guess as to what the fish was trying to do. The second time the little carp... Oy, that's such a hard thing for me to get out of my mouth for some reason. The second time the little carp fell back into the tank after another bout of flailing, he reached over and lifted the fish up at just the right moment. This time, it was Liu's turn to be confused. The little carp had been absorbed in waging a great battle against the fish tank when he suddenly felt weightless and was picked up. He looked up. Who else could it be but Prince Jing? Liu curled his tail happily around Prince Jing's finger. Master, you've come to help me. Prince Jing coughed lightly while holding the fish. His finger felt a bit ticklish. He had moved without thinking and didn't think to find something to put the fish into beforehand. Concerned about the little fish being out of the water for too long, Prince Jing gently put the fish into a clean tea bowl. Again, don't do this. Bad. Bad. Don't do this to real fish. Made out of white jade and wrapped in a hint of green, the tea bowl was shaped like flower petals and was just big enough for a fish. Prince Jing poured some fresh water into the tea bowl. It was very shallow, so as soon as the little carp was in the tea bowl, it could look up with ease to see its surroundings. If you're gonna do this, at least use the water from the tank. Don't use fresh water at a completely different temperature. Listen, I may not have taken good care of my fish when I had them, because I was like 11, but I now know better, and I know that fish maintenance is no joke. That is why I will never have fish. Although he was now living in Prince Jing's room, a fish's field of vision from the inside of the tank was very limited. He could hear sounds of the people. He could hear the sounds of people coming and going every day, but he had never seen what the room looked like. In this new position, he was suddenly able to. Liu was a little disappointed. Compared to the exquisite luxury of Chunqing Palace, Prince Jing's room looked rather shabby. After surveying his surroundings, though, his conclusion was that the room suited the tyrant's cold disposition, reserved, simple, and mature. Prince Jing evidently only kept the essentials, as there was a pitiful lack of interior decor. It was almost like a snow cave. The Moshang allegations are popping out. No matter, Liu thought. The entire reason he was here was to turn the tyrant's personality around. Perhaps he could bring some warmth to the snow cave. Next to the tea bowl was a brush and ink. After Prince Jing set Liu down, he sat down and picked up the brush. So he was going to write or draw? Liu remembered the ink he had smelled earlier and swished his tail excitedly. He knew quite a lot about this subject. He could give the prince some ideas. Whenever the little carp felt joyful, its tail would lift high up in the air. Prince Jing shot him a warning look, and Liu immediately put his tail down. He was definitely going to be sent back to his tank if he accidentally got the prince's calligraphy or painting wet. The little carp settled on staring quietly, but ardently. Prince Jing considered, then smoothed out the paper. With a few quick strokes, he outlined a vivid, lifelike fish. Oh my god. Liu peered over. That head, that body, that tail. Wow, Prince Jing was drawing him! Liu was so thrilled someone was willing to draw a portrait of him that every time he looked at Prince Jing, he felt delighted all over again. Maybe Liu should put in a little effort too. Maybe he should try modeling for Prince Jing, since he was the princess muse. Oh my god. Is this fighting for love? This is fighting for love. I'm obsessed with it. After some solemn deliberation, the little carp twisted in the tea bowl in what he thought was a truly majestic pose. In reality, it was just a very curvy S. Prince Jing smiled. Ah! He smiled! Okay, it's fine. The little fish was quite sharp. Keeping his eyes on the fish, he added a few more strokes. Although neither of them spoke, there was an air of amicability as the human and fish enjoyed each other's company. Your Highness, Wang Ji came in to report, drenched in sweat. His Imperial Majesty's gifts have arrived. Prince Jing set down his brush and moved the painting to the side to dry. Just before he headed out to accept the gifts, he glanced back and saw the little carp was swaying its tail. Its face turned to the painting, as though it wanted to try. Prince Jing's eyelid twitched. He turned around and grabbed the tea bowl with the fish in it. He didn't want to find a new He didn't want to find a few new He didn't want to find a few new tail imprints on the painting when he returned. Liu was bewildered to find himself suddenly whisked away. The news of noble consort Chu trying to frame Prince Jing had already traveled to every corner of the palace. If this had happened a couple of years ago, the emperor would have never allowed the matter to pass so easily. But since he already had plans for the second prince to be the crown prince, he had to consider the second prince's reputation. In the end, the emperor treated Mu Tianzhao coldly for a few days, but his choice on crown prince remained the same. While the emperor had indeed punished the noble consort, he had to put in some effort to comfort Prince Jing as well, as was evidenced by the long list of gifts. Without batting an eye, he shoved all sorts of priceless treasures at the prince as though they cost nothing. Daddy's money, daddy's money, daddy's money. One of them was especially unique, a pair of koi that had been gifted to the emperor by a foreign country. There were only a few pairs of these fish in the world. Okay. The emperor had given gifts to Prince Jing before too, but the prince had always been a difficult person to please. Sorry. Alliteration. It's not really, it's just a little bit. Okay, I'm done. He had no need for gold or silver, and no interest in beauties. Every time he had to decide on a gift for Prince Jing, it gave him a headache. Now that he discovered Prince Jing actually had interest, the Emperor waved his brush so enthusiastically. It was like he'd been injected with steroids. If the prince liked fish, then he would give him some more fish. A huge smile split head eunuch Luo. Why is that hard for me to say now? I don't know what's going on. A huge smile split head eunuch Luo's face as he directed servants to deliver the 3 or 4 foot long fish tank into Jingtai Hall. This tank was truly rare, as it was carved from completely transparent crystals. Inside the tank were 2 koi, one red and one gold, both handpicked by the emperor himself. They had clearly been taken care of extremely well, because both of them were huge. When they swam together, their colors flowed like rays of light. It was quite a sight to behold. Liu was currently in Wang Gonggong's hands, munching on the food that Wang Gonggong had sprinkled into his bowl. But upon seeing that the emperor had shoved a few more fish at Prince Jing, Liu's jaw dropped in shock. A piece of food floated away. That's so silly. In this day and age, did even fish have to compete for love? Oh, that's where it is. With his intelligence, how could he stoop so low as to fight with other fish? But he had quests he had to complete. If the prince no longer cared for him, who was Liu going to complete his tasks with? No, he had to fight. Liu observed carefully, resolving to guard Prince Jing the way a hen looked after her eggs. If any other fish tried to seduce Prince Jing, I don't think you have a problem with that. If any other fish tried to seduce Prince Jing, he would chase them away. The little carp secretly began readying himself for battle. But after Prince Jing took his time to admire the crystal fish tank with rare koi inside, he ultimately didn't accept them. Prince Jing was not swayed. To Liu's relief and delight, the pretty koi had failed to tempt him. Oh boy. And of course, when Wang Gonggong brought him back to his room and saw that his porcelain fish tank had been replaced with the huge crystal fish tank that originally held the koi, Liu was even happier. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Christ, reading is, I don't know what's going on today, but reading is like, 5 times more difficult today. I did just take my meds, so maybe I just need that to kick in. I can't even talk. The next chapter is called The Fish Wants Revenge on Society. Whatever that means. That was the end of the chapter, by the way. That's why it's not there. Ugh. I need to rewire my brain. Beep boop, beep boop, boop, boop. Maybe if I like massage it just a little bit, or like bang it around a little bit. Clang, 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 clang. That's my brain inside my skull. Clang, 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 clang. Ping pong, clang, clang. Ugh, it's so silly. Ugh. I'm taking a little stretch break, a little hydrate break. You should too, if you've been, not doing much. Your break. What even happened in that chapter? He just pushed the pearl around. He pushed the pearl around. He got jealous of koi fish. It's interesting because the carp and the cover, that doesn't really look like a carp to me, not gonna lie. That looks more like a koi. But, okay, pop off, I guess. Maybe he transforms. And then they think he just grew up or something, like, because a fish just grew up like that. That'd be funny. Alright, the fish wants revenge on society. Same, my guy. Liu had switched to a completely new dwelling. The new fish tank was several times larger than the old one, and it was sculpted from a solid piece of crystal. Such a large piece of crystal was rare to find in ancient times, and these kinds of treasures were reserved for the royal family. But to Liu, who was from modern times, crystal like this wasn't particularly uncommon. He was used to seeing large transparent fish tanks everywhere, so Liu had no concept of the price of his new residence, and no one would ever think to point this out to a fish. Jeez. All the little carp knew was Prince Jing had moved his familiar white rock bed into the new tank, using the exact same kind of stone to expand his sleeping area. The water plants were moved in as well, not a single leaf was missing. Prince Jing had also added an ornamental mountain for him to play in. Cute. With part of the mountainside made to resemble a lounge chair. Stop it. He's too much. When Liu lay on it, there was room for him to move around, and he wiggled a few times to express his enjoyment. Lady Chu's luminous pearl had been placed in the corner of his new tank. Perhaps Prince Jing was worried he'd get bored with just the one pearl, because the prince gave him plenty of other jewels in different colors and sizes. Liu didn't know how expensive the crystal was, so of course he wouldn't be able to tell that all these other balls were made from precious gems. The craftsmanship in ancient times wasn't sophisticated enough to cut the gems perfectly. Most of the time, the gems were only carved for the purpose of being inlaid into decorations, and so the gem's natural beauty and shine weren't as prominent. Liu could only recognize something as a gemstone when it sparkled and shone, so he assumed that all these rounded jewels in the fish tank were just regular rocks. Just unusually colorful regular rocks. Man, rocks are great too. I like rocks. Rocks are awesome. Appreciate the rocks. Wang Gongong, who often came to look after the little carp, saw it build a pile out of the jewels that had been scattered in the tank and pick out a pigeon blood ruby. The little carp swung its tail vigorously, sending the pigeon blood ruby into the sack of jewels and knocking them all over. The corner of Wang Gongong's lips twitched, watching this scene. These were the precious gemstones the emperor had given the prince some time ago. His Highness had ordered the jewels to be made into spherical shapes, because he assumed that the little thing had taken a liking to round things. It appeared as long as the little fish did indeed enjoy them. It appeared as though the little fish did indeed enjoy them. My bad. He even started playing with the noble consort's luminous pearl thus once he received the jewels that His Highness gave him. It's so stupid. Liu spent a long time getting used to his new tank. By the time he realized it, there was less than half a day left in the getting along quest. Holy shit, when did he start playing for real? Stupid. Liu hurriedly chucked away the jewel he was playing with and looked around for Prince Jing. The crystal fish tank was transparent enough that he no longer needed to jump high into the air to see him. The prince was currently reading a book at his desk. The sunlight scattered through the window lattice, enveloping the beautiful youth in a gentle golden glow. Liu stared, dumbstruck. Before, whether he was in the porcelain fish tank or the tea bowl, he always had to look up to see Prince Jing, and by now Liu was used to his cold expression. He had no idea that the same face could look so gentle and soft. Liu stared at Prince Jing blankly, feeling an inexplicable ache in his heart. In this world, the person he spent the most time with was Prince Jing, and the time they'd spent together had been filled with happiness. God, he's already so far gone. In another few hours, his fish life was going to come to an end. Prince Jing would never know that his pet fish had been a person from another world. An absurd idea suddenly popped up in Liu's mind. Maybe he should just forget everything and use the transformation medicine. So what if he caused a little bit of chaos? He was human. It was so unfair that he had randomly transmigrated into a fish. It wasn't so unreasonable for him to want to say goodbye to this world as a human. He's not wrong. Liu was about to enter the system as a fish who had nothing to lose when Prince Jing put down his book and approached the tank. Liu had probably stopped by the wall of the tank for too long enough that Prince Jing had taken notice while he was reading. Liu wagged his tail listlessly at the prince, waving goodbye to him for the last time. But Prince Jing misunderstood and thought that the fish wanted to play again. Although it was easy to see the fish through the crystal tank, the tank was larger and taller, which made it more difficult to put his hand in the water and play with the little carp the way he did before. A bit of a shame, Prince Jing thought. His hand itched to play with the fish, but had to settle for pressing against the walls of the crystal tank. Liu paused, then swam over slowly. He was currently a fish who was in a dangerously volatile mood. It wouldn't be easy to make him happy. He instinctively blew a bubble toward Prince Jing's fingertip. Little fingertip. A corner of Prince Jing's lips quirked up as he slid his hand As he slid his hand a little further. The little carp hurried to follow. Liu had already forgotten about his revenge on society as Prince Jing played with him. There is really not much time left. Fine, the prince was treating him so well, he shouldn't cause trouble for him. Separated by the crystal wall, the little carp could only rub longingly against the spot where Prince Jing's finger was. He spent his final 2 hours with the prince like this. User, time is up. The system interrupted. Uh-oh. Liu realized in a daze that he had already entered the fish scamming system. He wasn't quite sure what had happened to make him suddenly enter the system. He didn't turn into fishbone and fish ash before Prince Jing's very eyes, right? Please don't be nervous, user. You're still alive, the system assured him. Still alive? That was good. Liu didn't get to relax for long before realizing something wasn't right. Shouldn't he have failed, since he ran out of time? The system explained. The time limit for the task meant you had to use the entire duration of the countdown. Fucking bitch! Oh my god. Why didn't you say that earlier? You're messing with a poor fish again. I've already reminded the user to be patient, the system told him. You needed to wait until the allotted amount of time had passed, at which point the system will determine whether or not you failed the quest. That's such fucking bullshit. Oh my god. Liu thought back. The system did prompt him to be patient before, but who on earth would get such a vague hint? So, did I succeed? Liu asked unhappily. The system answered. Please look at the main quest. Following the system's prompt, Liu went to check on the getting along step of the Priceless Pet Fish main quest. The countdown had been replaced with a little square that was flashing different colors. The system continued. This time the criterion? Oh. This time the criterion for success is how satisfied the Tyrant was over the last few days. Green means success, red means failure. Can't you talk normally? Enough bullshit. What exactly is my result? The system suddenly stopped. The little square that kept continuously changing colors also stopped. If he failed, he would turn into fish bones and fish ass. Ash. God. Gathering his courage, Liu went to look at the final result. To be honest, he was quite confident. Although he caused a lot of trouble for the Tyrant and taken advantage of him— oh god, I forgot about that for a second. The Tyrant had grown quite fond of Liu. He probably wouldn't get red. Liu quickly glanced at it, only to see that the result the system had given him was multicolored. Liu's heart was shaking from top to bottom. What does multicolored mean? Be who you are, for your pride. Oh god. The system spoke. Congratulations, user, for completing Getting Along. The reward is heightened healing powers. Liu brushed aside the reward. His mind was fixated on one thing, wondering if the splendid colors meant he did a splendid job. It meant he was very satisfied, the system said. Liu beamed. Was the prince very pleased with him? Ha ha ha! Thank the heavens! Thank Prince Jing! The little carp trembled and exhaled loudly, relieved, before jumping high into the air. Liu exited the system and realized he was laying on Prince Jing's hand. It turned out that he had been in the middle of playing with Prince Jing when he entered the system. The stupid system hadn't taken care of anything for him, so he sank to the bottom without any warning, right in front of the prince. It had been a shocking sight, leaving Prince Jing to assume that the fish must have fallen sick again. The servants waiting outside Prince Jing's room had already had experience with this, since a similar thing had happened before. The fish had already gone stiff, but other than that, there didn't seem to be anything wrong with it. The servants just had to vaguely tell him that his fish was asleep. Prince Jing's face remained grim as he waited for the fish to wake up. As soon as Liu saw Prince Jing, he felt the corners of his eyes prickling. Prince Jing didn't know that the fish in his hand was actually human or not, nor did he know that Liu had gone through a life-or-death situation, and yet it was his love for him that had saved Liu. The little carp stared at Prince Jing's handsome face, emotions welling up inside his chest. Fish couldn't cry, and they couldn't speak, no matter whether Liu was happy or sad. As a fish, all he could do was swish his tail and blow bubbles. But Liu wasn't just any fish. If he felt excited, he had to show it in some way, and right now he wanted to show Prince Jing just how grateful he was. Liu thought about how animals like cats and dogs express their affection. There wouldn't be anything wrong with him nuzzling Prince Jing's face like that too. Wait. Sorry. Plus, Prince Jing was holding him in his hand right now. He wouldn't get a better opportunity than this. Ooh. Sorry, my throat's already starting to feel a little silly. Yesterday, I was having some, issues with my throat and my, lungs, I guess. I don't know, it was weird. I think I was just, too cold during the night. So I woke up and my throat and my lungs were like, yuck. Anyway. Liu did his best to straighten out his body, but fish were not the same as cats and dogs. Cats and dogs could stand up and lay their paws on their owner's shoulders, but no matter how tall Liu stood up, his fins were still nowhere near long enough, and he couldn't reach anything. He just struggled uselessly for a while, and then toppled back into Prince Jing's hand. Liu wasn't discouraged. He still had a powerful tail in his arsenal, as long as he aimed for Prince Jing's face. Oh no, he was going to make it. He just had to remember not to use too much force. He wanted to nuzzle up to Prince Jing's cheek, not slap him in the face. He had to be gentle. Oh no. This time, Liu didn't miscalculate the force required, but his sense of direction wasn't very good. I knew it. What else are we expecting here? We already got the nipple scene. Ugh. He missed the mark and jumped too far to the side. Unfortunately, the little carp didn't notice at all. As he sprang forward, Prince Jing's face grew larger and larger. The little carp was secretly filled with joy. Without any regard for everything else, he leaned in with his mouth and randomly wiggled around. His sharp little fish mouth rubbed against something incredibly soft. Prince Jing's face feels so nice, he thought, but shouldn't cheeks be flat? Why does this feel kind of wavy and a little hot? Liu paused. No way. Was he rubbing against... Liu's eyes widened in shock as he realized his fish lips were pressed against Prince Jing's man lips. that is certainly a way to say it. God. Prince Jing's dark, pitch-black pupils stared back at him unblinkingly. Goodness gracious! Once again, he made a mistake. That wasn't me reading it 3 times. It actually says once again 3 times, with emphasis on the last one. Ugh. Shuddering, the little carp slid down from the prince's lips. He never wanted to see the prince again. Prince Jing held the fish in one hand, then rubbed his lips, his mouth a little sore thanks to the fish bumping into it. Was this little fish up to no good again? He could already picture the fish slipping into a deflated state again for the next few days. Liu, who had finally completed a small step in the main quest, entered an even deeper state of self-reflection than before. He was just in the middle of preparing a second round of apology fish food to the prince when the fish scamming system dropped another bomb on dropped another bomb on him out of the blue. Sorry, I was reading the next line as well. Hello, user. The fourth step of the main quest, Tyrant's priceless pet fish. Share a bed with the Tyrant has already begun. Please complete the quest carefully. Oh my god. Were his gifts for Prince Jing not enough for the system? Now he had to share a bed with a tyrant? Fish couldn't even leave the water. How on earth was he supposed to sleep with a human? But the system never answered him. That was what made it a fish scamming system. And that's the end of that chapter. Oh my god. Which the next chapter is called The Fish Wants to Get in the Bed. I wonder why. I guess we know now. There's also an illustration for it. Oh my god, I'm so ready. There's an illustration in this chapter. Ah! Okay. The next one after this is called Don't Be Afraid, Fish. Ah, okay, I'm not reading ahead. Stop it. Okay, I'm going to take a short little break to get some more tea and to walk around. You should too, if you've been sitting or laying down or something, if you can. You know, I'm not gonna tell you what to do, but I mean, it's only been an hour, but you know, it's still good. I need tea for my throat. I need some warm, hot water for my throat. And then we can continue on with the next chapter, and that'll probably be the last chapter we do today. We'll see. We'll see how... Well, the next chapter after that isn't very long either, so we might do that. We'll see. It might end on a cliffhanger, and I don't like that. So, again, we'll see. I will be right back. Like 5 minutes, probably. Yeah. Okay, BRB. Hello, I am back. I have tea. I have tea. It is cooling down now. But once it is cool, I will drink it. Anyway, chapter 15. The fish wants to get in the bed. So fucking stupid. So stupid. So stupid, stupid, stupid. I want to drink my tea right now, but it's too hot. Alright, let's like read a page or two and then tea will probably be good by then. Alright. Theo analyzed all the quests he'd done so far. The fish scamming system's titles had all been a little clickbaity. Like the fucking titles of these chapters? The quests weren't hard to do, so long as he was able to dispel the clouds and see what the quest was really asking. Interacting and getting along just meant daily interactions with Prince Jing. Clear Bright Pearl might have looked challenging at first glance, but there were no specific requirements on how it needed to be completed. Touching the Luminous Pearl was all he needed to succeed. He just got unlucky and ran into a string of stupid accidents in the process. By that logic, he shouldn't have to think too hard about sharing a bed. As long as he was in the same bed as Prince Jing, using the same pillow, it would probably be alright. The system didn't even say that they had to share a blanket, nor did it mention actually sleeping. There was plenty of wiggle room here. Leo thought about it for a moment and concluded perhaps it was only the title of this quest that was a little insane. It should be doable. His confidence received an enormous boost when he repeated his analysis to the system, and all it said was, "The user just has to complete the quest." Very good. It didn't deny me outright, so it must be okay. Now all he had to figure out was how to get into the same bed as Prince Jing and share a pillow. Obviously, he would have to do it when Prince Jing was sleeping. Fish couldn't leave the water. Even if they could stay out of water for a short while, a fish had to stay wet. Could a sopping wet fish share a bed with Prince Jing? Of course not. Even if he somehow managed it, Prince Jing would never forgive him. Dirtying his owner's bed was probably a much more reprehensible crime than taking advantage of his owner. Oh dear. I actually need to drink some tea before I continue. Because my throat is not happy with me. It's not happy. Watching me burn my fucking tongue. I just have to wait. We just have to wait. How's your day? How's it going? How's your day going? My day just started, so I'm just sleepy like always. Oh, I did. I'm pretty much almost finished with the Juji Long mouse pad that I was working on Wednesday. Pretty much almost done with it. I still have to do the background, of course, but I did that. I also did a less clothes version where it's just open. And yeah. That's what I did yesterday. After I was feeling a bit sick. Be cold, be not scalding, be not scalding, be not scalding. I think I have PTSD from burning myself on tea or something. Okay, little sips are okay. Okay, better already. Let's go. Where are we? I did burn my tongue a little bit, but that's okay. There. This left Liu with no other choice but to complete the task while Prince Jing was sleeping, so he wouldn't know. And so the task had now changed into a plan to sneak into Prince Jing's bed while he was asleep and wriggle around on his pillow. The crystal fish tank was quite a distance away from Prince Jing's bed. He would have to aim carefully for this jump, and he'd still have to find some way to return to the tank once he'd touched the pillow. This wasn't a normal level of difficulty. Oi, sorry. Last time, the countdown kept him in a state of fear, but there was no time limit to this time. He could practice a few times in preparation, when no one was around. Liu secretly started practicing. Oh my god. When no one was around, Liu secretly started practicing his jumping from the crystal fish tank to the bed. The first time, as expected, he fell onto the floor. He was still several feet away from Prince Jing's bed. He had braced himself for it to hurt, but no pain came. The award for getting along came to mind. Perhaps his physical fitness had also gone up. Since falling didn't hurt him, he could give it a couple more tries. Wait, he didn't have to jump over in one leap. He could attempt a triple jump. Oh, I burned my tongue a lot. Oh, that's so fun. It's a delayed reaction. Blech. Liu jumped towards his destination once more, each hop getting him one step closer to Prince Jing's bed. Jumping several times wasn't hard. The little carp was a little exhausted. No, what? Was a little exhilarated. But he didn't manage to get to Prince Jing's bed before he wasn't able to take it anymore and was forced to scamper back. Once he was back in the fish tank, Liu realized that there were a bunch of puddles on the cloud path. Liu realized there were oh my god. Brain, where are you? Why have you forsaken me? Where did you go? Come back to me. I'll just have tea and burn my tongue once again. Once he was back in the fish tank, Liu realized there were a bunch of puddles on the cloud-patterned floor tiles. He didn't know what to do about that. It seemed like jumping back and forth posed a problem. There was always the noisy issue of his tail slapping against the floor. If he thought that was loud, wouldn't it be much more frightening to hear in the middle of the night? What if he woke up Prince Jing? It's too difficult to complete this mission as a fish, Liu lamented. If he were human, none of this would have to be so difficult. Does this mean he had to change back into a human to complete the task? Liu was a little hesitant. He didn't have the transformation medicine. He did have the transformation medicine, and this task, which was so difficult for a fish, would be a piece of cake to a human. But he had wanted to spend those 2 hours doing something meaningful, not just forced to complete another quest on a time limit. The fish scamming system had said there was only one transformation elixir. Completing the main quest would turn him back into a human too, but there was no knowing how long that would take. Did he really have to use the medicine now? What if there was a quest later that required him to be human? Making this decision was even harder than jumping around. Liu decided to try a few more times as a fish. He hadn't tried any other tactics yet after all. Perhaps the heavens decided to help him out this time. Wangji noticed the puddles the little carp had left all over the floor, and thought it was funny. Chuckling, he told Prince Jing, "Your Highness, it seems like the little thing likes to take walks." Ugh. Yeah, I think this would be the last chapter. My throat is like not cooperating very well. Neither is my brain, so might have to leave the rest to Monday. That's in 2 days. 2 days? It's Friday, Sunday, Saturday, Friday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Yeah. Alright. This was how Prince Jing found out the fish had left its tank. Prince Jing had already seen the little carp chasing after the luminous pearl on Chanqing Palace's golden floor tiles. Taking a walk was nothing in comparison. But even such a large fish tank couldn't contain him. Prince Jing's gaze on the little carp was somewhat complicated. Liu feigned innocence, blowing bubbles. Master, it's not that I like taking walks. I just want to jump into your bed. Obviously. Prince Jing's response to this development delighted Liu. He really indulged his pet fish. He ordered Wang Ji to arrange a few tea bowls. No. Filled with clear water on the floor, just in case the fish jumped out and needed water halfway. Unbelievable. He's giving him save points. Prince Jing had no problem with the fish taking walks. He just didn't want to return home to a fish corpse. As soon as the master's orders came down, the servants had to go out of their way to figure out where to put the tea bowls. There had to be some strategic thought behind the bowl's placement, so the little carp could use them, but also so Prince Jing wouldn't step in them. Wang Ji studied it for quite some time and consulted Prince Jing as well. The tea bowls were placed in areas that the prince didn't frequent, with most of them gathered around the fish tank. One of them just so happened to be on the way to Prince Jing's bed. The little carp wiggled gleefully. He didn't expect happiness to arrive this soon. His tyrant owner just opened up a cheat for him. Wang Ji even switched out the carpet in the room for a water-absorbent one, in case the little carp got the floor wet from jumping around. This really was a godsend. Liu had been worried that he'd leave a wet mark on the pillow, but he had nothing to fear with this new carpet. The day the carpet was laid out, Liu returned the water in his inventory back to the fish tank for the time being and surreptitiously stole a piece of carpet. What? How do you steal? Stole a piece of carpet to put into his inventory instead. Where is that story quest? When did you do that? This way he could use the carpet as a cushion whenever he wanted. So he didn't have to worry about dirtying the pillow anymore. That's insane. A carpet. Oi! All the preparations were complete. Now Liu just needed to wait until the prince was sound asleep to make his move, so that he wouldn't be woken up by all the tail slapping. Ew. I don't know why that's so eerie to me. Prince Jing returned very late that night. Liu heard the door, but the prince didn't order anyone to light the lanterns after he entered. Instead, he felt his way to the bed and slipped under the covers, knocking over a few of the tea bowls on the ground in the process. Liu chuckled. Did Prince Jing get drunk somewhere? Drunk was good. It'd be easier for him to complete his task. Liu waited a while, long after the bed had gone quiet. He was already familiar with the route, and with a few hops he arrived at the head of the bed. God. Oh, sorry. One more. No? Not one more? Okay, we're good. He whipped out the water-absorbing cushion, put it to the bed, and, with a light bounce, landed on the cushion. Goodness gracious. Prince Jing had his back turned to him, his head shrouded by the blanket. He was very still, with half of his jade pillow peeking out. Liu couldn't have asked for a better scenario. As an extra precaution, he touched the jade pillow with his fin, being careful to not get it wet so Prince Jing wouldn't notice the next day. Sharing a bed should be complete. With all that taken care of, he waited for the system's prompt, but nothing happened. Liu was a little flustered and very confused. What had gone wrong? Liu was on the verge of climbing completely on top of the jade pillow, or if that didn't work, burrow into the blanket. He was already very close to the person on the bed when he suddenly smelled a light fragrance. Fragrance? Liu froze. Since when did Prince Jing start using women's perfumes? Uh-oh. Last time when he pecked Prince Jing on the lips, Liu was sure he hadn't smelled such a cloyingly sweet scent. At the same time, the person on the bed flipped over and stared at Liu with dazzlingly lustrous eyes. Liu got a good look at this person's appearance in the moonlight filtering through the window lattice. It wasn't Prince Jing. It was a beautiful woman. No wonder the main quest didn't update. It wasn't Prince Jing's bed at all. It wasn't Prince Jing on the bed at all. Startled, Liu fell backwards and slid off the jade pillow. The unfamiliar woman was shocked as well. She raised her hand tucked under the blanket as if she was about to retrieve something, but when she realized it was just a fish, she scoffed lightly, then lay back down under the blanket with one pale shoulder sticking out. Are you not gonna, put the fish back? Lady, do you not care about this? Okay. Liu froze. The moment the fish had lifted her hand, Liu saw what she was about to grab. It was a blade, and one so shiny that Liu was almost blinded. Oh dear. Assassination attempt? In my fish danmei? I didn't see that one coming. This was... At first, when he realized it was a woman in a state of undress in Prince Jing's bed, he thought it was just some servant who wanted to seduce Prince Jing to climb the social ladder. But this woman had a knife hidden underneath the blanket. That complicated matters. She wasn't here to She wasn't here to climb any ladders. She was likely a female assassin trying to take Prince Jing's life. No wonder this person knocked over a few tea bowls. Prince Jing would never have done that. Pfft. Liu curled up in the blanket, doing his best to make himself inconspicuous to the assassin. At the same time, he was confused. In the book, Jingtai Hall was described to be like a fortress, so how did this woman skirt around its guards and break into Prince Jing's bedroom? Before he could rack his brain further, Wang Ji's voice could be heard faintly from outside the door, calling out, "Your Highness." Prince Jing was about to come in. Liu panicked. How could he let Prince Jing know that there was How could he let Prince Jing know that there was I can't say that. How could he let Prince Jing know that there was an assassin in his bed? Oh right, this woman wasn't dressed properly. She likely wouldn't kill him right off the bat. Prince Jing also knew martial arts, and he had servants too, so she'd definitely wait until his guard was down. As long as she didn't go for the kill immediately. The door was pushed open lightly. Liu and the assassin both held their breaths. Wang Ji lit the candles. Prince Jing glanced inside his room and immediately caught sight of the shape lying in his bed. How dare you! As soon as Wang Gonggong saw there was someone else here, he was livid. Who dared crawl into His Highness's bed? The woman on the bed acted as though she was deaf. She sat up, still wrapped up in the blanket, and revealed her beautiful visage. She let out a seductive laugh, her voice ringing like silver bells. The sweeter her laughter sounded, the colder Liu felt. He desperately prayed in his heart for Prince Jing not to be bewitched by this woman. My man is gay, probably, and he probably likes fish, so that's, a whole other level. I don't think you have to worry about that. Wang Ji was about to rush forward and drag the woman away when Prince Jing stopped Wang Ji mid-step. ordering him to stand to the side. The woman laughed smugly. Your Highness likes me. Prince Jing approached, face completely devoid of expression. He glanced at the woman while Liu watched nervously, desperately hoping he would throw the woman out. But to his horror, Prince Jing raised a hand to caress the woman's face. I don't know, it's going against what this illustration is saying. Oh, it's already. The woman smiled as she leaned into his touch. Although the prince's fingers were so cold they made her shiver, she knew he had fallen for her, hook, line, and sinker. Stupid Prince Jing. There was obviously something wrong with this woman. Liu was so furious that he was about to jump up to reveal himself to Prince Jing, when things suddenly took a turn. A cold light flashed through Prince Jing's eyes. As quick as lightning, he wrapped his hand around the woman's throat. Prince Jing might not have been able to speak, but he didn't need to. Anyone who dared enter his room always had an ulterior motive. There was only one way this would end for them. Death. The woman didn't expect him to strike so swiftly, when everything had been just fine a moment ago. Ignoring the burning pain in her throat, she reached into the blanket, scrambling for the knife that she had hidden in a desperate bid to save herself. But something inside the blanket bit her harshly. Startled, she lost focus, and before she could scream, Prince Jing pierced through her chest with a sword. She stared down at the hole in her chest in shock, and then looked back up at Prince Jing's impassive face. She didn't even get a chance to say what her owner sent her to say. She thought the prince would at least spare her life, so he could question her. But the prince didn't care at all. He just wanted her dead. Prince Jing twisted his sword viciously, and the assassin slowly fell over. He pulled out his sword and glanced at the blood on it in disgust. Wang Ji heard the commotion and ran in, with a group of people following closely behind, only to see the woman on the floor. He sneered. She must have had a death wish. Prince Jing recalled seeing the woman searching for something in the blanket, but she had let go for some reason. Figuring she had hidden something in the blanket, he flipped over the blanket and found his fish curled up, trembling. What was going on? Prince Jing reached out to pick up the fish, but the little carp, who normally loved to curl its tail around his finger, flinched away in fear. Stop it! Stop! Oh my god. It's really so silly. That's the end of the chapter. The next chapter, chapter 16, is called Don't Be Afraid, Fish. Don't be afraid, fish. But yeah, I think that's where we'll end off for today. Even though the next chapter is super short. I want to read more, but no, we'll save it for next time. My throat is done. My brain is done. Even though it's already, it's warmed up by now. But sucks to suck, I guess. And we will continue this on Monday. Yippee! Oi. That was a rough one. See, I'm still jumbling my words. It's not even a reading thing, it's just a brain thing. So yeah, thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging around. I hope you enjoyed this reading today. And I will see you on Monday. I'm gonna go take a nap. I'm gonna go nap. Lie down and go to sleep. Or something of the sort. Do I have anything to say? I don't think so. I think we're good.